Yo, this is literally everything you need to know about fair market rent for beginner real estate investors. Fair market rent is so easy. All it is how much you can charge for a unit or a home when you rent it out based on a few factors. That's it. Don't get crazy, don't get overwhelmed, that's all it is. I'm telling you right now, you need to know this number, because if you don't know this number, then you don't know how much you can charge, and if you don't know how much you can charge, then you don't know how much money you'll make, and if you don't know how much money you make, then real estate investing is not gonna work out for you. You're gonna spend a lot of money and just lose it all. So how does anyone come up with this number? There's 3 big factors and 5 smaller factors. The first factor is the number of bedrooms. If you got more, probably charge more in rent. It's that easy. You got less, probably less in rent. Factor number 2 is bathrooms. Again, if you got more bathrooms, that's better, because you got more privacy for when you jerk off and take your shits. Third factor is size. The bigger the property, the more you can charge for it, obviously. The smaller the property, the less you can charge for it, obviously. So that one was easy. Number 4 is the location. What city it's in, and where in that city is it in. Yeah. Basically, if you're in a really good city that's a lot of jobs, great. If you're in a good city, but you're in a bad neighborhood, rent's probably a little bit lower. If you're in a good neighborhood, rent's probably a little bit higher. Good city and good neighborhood, high rents. Bad city, bad neighborhoods, lower rent. Number 5 is condition. If your unit looks like then obviously it's not gonna make a lot of money. If it looks nice, then it'll rent for more. Factor number 6 is the type of house. If you got a multifamily with 3 apartments inside, each unit might rent for a little bit less than if the person had their whole home, because who doesn't want to have a whole house? Whole house is always way better than an apartment, right? Amenities. I got a friend who has got a walk-in closet. He's got a big ass room. He's got a toilet and a shower for himself. That's a lot, right? So the landlord can charge a lot more in rent. But if he doesn't have all that stuff, the rent would be a lot lower. So the more things you have, the more things on top of that, like a pool, that's more you can charge in rent. Factor number 8, now this one is only in select locations, but it's timing. An example of this is like the Jersey Shore. During the year, it's a freaking ghost town, but in the summer, everyone wants to go to the beach, so the rents get like quadrupled, and the landlords make all of their money for the entire year in the 3 months in the summer, and then the rest of the year, they're just making enough money to get by. How could you come about your face and say I hate the hardest nigga you at the line down. If you find time, make your own one. So, funny story, I actually had no idea how to calculate this at first, how to come up with fair market rent at first. So, what I do, I like straight up took a guess. I used to live in the area that I was renting in, so I took what I was charged for my room for rent, and I just assumed that literally everyone else in that town gets charged the same amount. So I multiplied the amount of bedrooms that were in a house times what I got charged rent. So it was like $475 times, I don't know, 5 bedrooms in a house, right? And then it ended up being that much money, and yeah. Boy, was I wrong with that number. So I thought it would be easy for me to figure out how to calculate this number that's so important to all real estate investors. So I go to the Bigger Pockets book and I open it up, and I go to the page where it talks about calculating income, and I find 8 tips on what to do. Things like go to Craigslist and look at the other rentals, drive around and look at rent signs. Geez, that's efficient. Talk to other landlords. I'm a beginner. I don't know any other landlords. Trying to raise the rent in your own unit. Good job. I'm a beginner. I don't have any units. The book helped give me a general idea of what I had to do, but it didn't lead me to where I needed an actual number to say that this 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,300 square foot apartment could actually rent for $1,400 in my mind. That's what I needed to know, and that's what you need to know. The exact number that unit can rent for in order to know if you can make money from it or not. I need an exact number in order to be able to like say that I'm gonna make money from this property, that I'm gonna put $50,000 down to figure out if this thing works or not. That's a lot of money for me to do. So I called my real estate agent and asked him to give me a list of rentals in Ewing, the town that I'm invested in, so I can see what other people are charging. So I took that information my real estate agent gave me, and I was like, okay, how do I turn this into something that actually makes sense? I took the number of bedrooms, the number of bathrooms, and the square footage, and I used that information and I did some weird math magic, and I came up with a thing that helps me predict how much the rent will be based on the number of bedrooms, bathrooms, and square footage of a property. After putting into a spreadsheet and doing all that, that takes time and it's a pain in the ass. Who's gonna do that? That's just so much work. As a beginner, you should be like, F it, I'm done. So what did I do? I decided to make a tool that does it for you for free. All you gotta do is put in the city, state, zip code, number of bedrooms, number of bathrooms, and square footage. And then my calculator will go out and get data from over the internet, from your city, to figure out what other people are renting it for, and then come up with that line I was talking about to help predict what the rent could be in your area. I'm not gonna lie, this took me hell long to complete. It's not perfect, it doesn't work great for every single city, but for a lot of cities, it accurately predicts what the rent is gonna be. Let's go try it out. Let's go. Let's go try it out. So here's the fair market rent calculator. First, you gotta type in your email, then you gotta type in the city. For me, it was Ewing. Then you gotta type in the state, and that's New Jersey. The zip code of the property that I was looking at was 08638. It's a 2-bedroom, 1 bath with 1,000 square feet. Let's submit it. So what it says here is your submission will take 7 to 10 minutes to process. So what it's doing, it's going out and going to get a bunch of data, and then it's using that to make your thing. It's got to hit hundreds of websites in order to get that. So give it 7 to 10 minutes. We'll come back and we'll get it.
11 minutes later.
So we got our email, your rental prediction, 2-bed, 1 bath, 1,000 square foot. And it says, hey, investor, for a 2-bed, 1 bath unit in that zip code, the predicted rent is about $1,132 per month. Now this is pretty accurate because one of my units is renting for about $1,000, but it's an under market rent. So it's perfect. That means I can raise my rents in my unit, and I know this is probably about average. You can run this calculator as many times as you want. Look, you don't have to use my free calculator, but the most important thing is that you actually find an accurate number based on real data that can predict what you are going to rent the property for, because without that, your calculations might be totally screwed up and you might make a poor investment. And as a beginner, that's so important. You need to know what you're gonna make, otherwise you will get knocked out right off the bat. Now, before you decide to invest, you should probably know how much you need. Click the video on screen right now, somewhere, here, there, to figure out how much you need.